Hey everyone, welcome to the Grow Your Tutoring Business podcast. Today you are going to meet Sarah. Sarah has been tutoring for just over 4 years. She's a strong leader with strong values. She's shown great resourcefulness skills. Today she's going to share with us the impact that coaching has had on her business. So stay with us and let's jump straight to it. Sarah, thank you for agreeing to be part of the podcast, season 1. So we're really talking to any number of tutors at any stage of their business right now. So it's been a bit of a variety. So tell us a little bit about your tutoring business and where you are currently.
Well, thank you for having me.
That's okay.
We're currently going into the 4th year of Tutoring. So we tutor primary age children in maths and English. So a mix of online tutoring and face-to-face currently. Now, COVID is a thing of the past.
Yes. So you said the word we there. Is there more than one of you?
There's currently 2 of us, yes. Hopefully
Okay.
to expand further, yes.
Is that the plan, is it, to get more people on board and expand?
It is, yes, yeah. So this kind of my next month or maybe the month after's goal to recruit a few more tutors, just to expand our network a little bit, cut down
Okay. Whereabouts are you based, Sarah?
In South Gloucestershire, so not too far from Bristol or Gloucester.
So Sarah, what could your primary school tuition, what kind of services do you offer?
So we offer Key Stage 1 and 2 maths and English.
Okay.
And reading as well, so phonics and reading and creative writing we're starting to get into.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
So really everything, Sarah's based around those core areas of the curriculum at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, maths and English, yes.
Okay.
11 plus as well, actually. So we're doing 11 plus tutoring.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's something we share in common. Although it is 11 plus, but I live in Kent, so they call it the Kent test because we like to be different in Kent, and then we do different timings and stuff. It's a bit of a pain when you're trying to buy resources and find assessments. How is your market for the 11 plus? Is it high demand?
It's not too bad, actually. Yeah. So it's Gloucestershire. So all of the schools, luckily, are all the same test. So that works quite well for us. And there's a local boys and girls school. So I think, there's a steady flow of 11 plus students here, certainly. Yeah,
Okay.
Overwhelmingly so, but a nice number.
So tell us a little bit about, what generally happens at the beginning part of a podcast, or at the moment anyway, is that I like to hear stories about how you or why you transitioned away from the classroom towards becoming a full-time tutor and a successful business person as well, because I think that's important. But let's start with that transition from teaching to tutoring. What made you make that jump?
I think I kind of realised that teaching wasn't quite for me at the stage where I got to. So I did lots of supply and I really enjoyed going around different schools, meeting lots of different children and teachers, seeing how that was all set up. And it was kind of in prep for when I had my own class, to see what worked, what didn't. And then I taught for 2 years, taught reception, which I loved. First year was brilliant. There was a change of leadership and then it just all kind of changed a little bit. It all got a little bit too formal for my liking. We were essentially forcing children to sit and write, and it just
in EYFS?
Yeah, and there was a stage where we had a meeting and the children have to be writing for 20 minutes every day, including reception. I was like, they can't even sit on a chair at the moment. So
wow. Well, and that from the start of the year?
No, that was quite we had Ofsted fairly early on in the year, which wasn't overly positive. But then we moved on from that. And then the consistency became a thing and there just wasn't really they couldn't see the difference between key stage, normal key stages and EYFS.
Is that something that when you was sort of traveling around to schools doing supply and having a look at what was going on, is that something that you saw quite a lot of, or was EYFS seen as a different curriculum like it should be to Key Stage 1? What was your general experiences?
Generally, I think I saw it was quite play based. It was different. So EYFS, it was more different from the Key Stage 1, particularly.
Yeah.
And I was reading a lot about in the moment planning, which I was quite keen on, and I brought that in the first year I was there, and kind of set it all up, and it was all a little bit different. And it was, we were talking to other schools about how we'd set it up, and it was, quite pioneering, as it were, in the area that I was in. Then obviously Ofsted and the new head came in and was not quite so popular.
Sure. And so that was the catalyst to then start looking
I
at
think
something
it was
different.
really, yeah, it was, yeah. And then I'd seen there was a few local tutors that were advertising, and then somebody else, I think it was on like a money advert, money.co.uk advert, and it was just she was talking about how she was tutoring and basically she was making a full-time career out of it, and I thought, oh, I could do that.
When you first made that step, so it's one thing reading about it, it's another thing taking action to actually go and get a business up and running. What did you do in the first instance?
So in the first instance, I did actually look for other teaching jobs. I went through a phase where I was going to go into nursing. It was all quite a crazy time. And then and then from there, I just handed in my notice. It got to kind of the end of May, and I thought, I've got to make a decision. I'm just going to do it. So handed in my notice on literally the last day that you could. Yeah, I just posted on the local Facebook groups. There was a random post that said, anybody tutor? I'm looking for a tutor. I posted on there and then got about 4 comments on there after I'd posted to say I'm setting up. And yeah, within the first term, I was then fully booked. So, and that was working 5 days a week. So yeah, I thought, yeah,
So
I've made the right decision.
I absolutely, it's really quick growth as well. So you're working 5 days a week.
It was then, yes.
Evenings?
Yes, it was all,
time?
yeah, yes, I say 5 days a week, I suppose. Yes, it was all evenings. Yes.
So
And
how
then
many hours were you offering a night?
at that stage, it was, I'm quite lucky actually because the local school finished at 2:30. So I can,
Oh,
I know, although possibly not for long with the new thing. So
yeah,
it's all
yeah.
just really slotted into place. So
Okay.
from there, I could start from 2:45. I was going through till 7. So what's that? Yeah, 4 and a bit hours. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, not every day till 7, but
No, but I mean, you
yeah,
can fit in quite a bit in that time.
yeah,
And were you offering
definitely.
1 hour sessions?
Yes, at the time they were one
Yeah.
hour. Yeah, I've dropped that now, but yeah. And then I was
Haven't
quite
you?
lucky actually because a local home ed group, I posted on there that I've set up a tutoring company, and somebody got in touch then, and they wanted 3 mornings a week of 3 hours. So I was then also doing that. So that then really boosted it in the
That's a
home ed.
big boost.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
do say, and I should say at this point, I don't really believe in luck. Like you put yourself out there and you keep putting yourself out there and word of mouth goes around and you might see the right thing at the right time again. That
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
lucky, but you still got to take the action. So you kind of
yeah, definitely. Yeah, a mix of
made
both, I
yourself.
think. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, good. No, I mean, again, like a good takeaway for people. Like if you or you feel stuck or you're not sure, just put something out there and test the
Yeah,
water a
I'll
little
do.
bit because you don't know what's going on the other side of your screen if you're putting it on Facebook, or
Yeah.
if you're not sure about Facebook and you just want to put a leaflet out somewhere. Try it, see what happens, because you just don't
Yeah.
know. It doesn't take much. It takes one
Yeah,
person to say yes and suddenly you've got 4 people waiting because they tell some people, and then so on and so on.
exactly. I
um,
think that's the thing with business, isn't it? You just have to try it. If it doesn't work, then you just move on to the next thing. So
yeah, which is always like the right thing to do, but always harder in practice
in
because
practice,
we
yeah.
do go, oh no, that didn't work, and oh no, I'm
Yeah.
rubbish at it,
What
and
did I
actually
do?
it's
Not
not true.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not true, and you learn from all of those things. You just have to pick yourself back up at some point. When you were first starting out, that very first, I'd say let's do the first couple of months. So you've just started, right? You've put your Facebook page out. You've got some clients moving towards you now, and then everything else seems to slot into place. Quite luckily, the way you put it. I think there's more to it than that, but we'll go with luck for now. What were you surprised that you needed to have in place that you didn't really think of?
I think there was a few bits that caught me out. I really enjoyed creating like a logo and the name. That was quite. I wanted that kind of set up before I really went
Yeah.
anywhere with it. So I did really enjoy that. Insurance was one that threw me. There was a bit where I was
Okay.
like, do I need that?
Yeah.
There's an element of, yeah, panic actually there.
Yeah, yeah, I'll get that quite a bit
Yeah.
actually. People not knowing what they need or how much it's going
Yeah.
to cost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I still feel like I'm finding things as well. Like last year there was the ICA registration and lots of bits like that. Brand colours, I think, they're good to have, but I don't think you need them from the start, do you?
No,
But yeah.
I'm on the set. Yeah. We know that you're primary school based, and you offer all those core subject services. How do you actually reach your students, and how do you teach them? Is it face to face? Is it online?
A mix of both, definitely. Yeah. So we've
Okay.
got a couple of students who are online still who are further away. So
Yeah.
I think just through lockdown, so a few across the UK. But we're kind of heading towards back towards, sorry, face to face.
Okay.
Either travelling to tutees houses,
Mm,
and yeah. So I've got one evening a week. I hire a village hall, and we have they're like back to back. So I've got 4 students back to back on a Wednesday evening. They come to me actually from a couple of weeks' time. I'm also having a face-to-face group the evening before in the village hall too. So that'll be kind of hands-on, fun, play, learning, but
yeah.
also consolidating kind of it's aimed at 3 4 5, kind of consolidate that lower key stage 2 maths knowledge.
Oh, that's good. So have you run groups before, tutoring groups, or has it always been one-to-one previously?
It's mostly been one-to-one groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, again face to face. Last summer, I did some kind of summer camp type things. So like day things where they
Mhm.
came and did maths and English. Over lockdown, I did online year group tutoring sessions. I had loads of year 4s all at the same time, and they were all kind of friends. So we made a group and just did the year 4. So it was
Oh,
alongside
that's
what they would have
good.
been doing at school, but it just gave the parents a couple of half an hours in the middle of the day to
Yeah, I bet that was popular. Yeah, I can
really
imagine that was
popular.
really
Yeah.
popular actually. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I'm glad. And actually, funny enough, somebody contacted me last week to say one of my students was in one of your groups. They were locked down and were looking for tutoring. So, I mean, even from that, it's still producing business. So,
Do you ever reach out to your past clients? So the ones that have kind of moved on?
no, I don't actually. No, no, it's funny. I feel, well, no, probably should. I don't know. We're currently full with a waiting list, but
Yeah.
I just feel like, nurturing them afterwards as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the things that I got taught a few years ago was that you or it's easier to sell things to people who've already bought from you. Like, so if you
Mm,
keep them somewhere, and even if it's like because you might not be set up in that way, it might just be that you do your services and then just they come to an end and new people come on board.
mm,
But it could be like in the future because you grow and you have new things to offer. But do you know what? I remember teaching you in year 4. I've got this amazing SATs thing coming up for year 6s to be
yes.
perfect for you, whether it's a
Yeah,
workshop
absolutely.
or a face-to-face group at the village hall. What do you think? And because they know you, they're much far more likely to say yes. Not to say it always works for everybody, but definitely
Yeah.
a top tip. And now you've been tutoring for about 4 years.
Yes.
Like you've probably got quite a backlog of people that you've supported over the years that you might be able to then go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, interesting you say that actually, because last year I launched year 6. It was like a recorded course, and actually a
Mm.
few people who'd stopped tutoring, the term before, actually then bought that. So it's
All right. Okay.
a cheaper alternative to tutoring. Not that money was the reason that they stopped. It was kind of they were at the level they needed to be, but this was then kind of a backup support. It was they were going into year 6, they knew SATs were coming up, and it was just a bit of a boost to recap of all the tricky bits, basically.
How you don't have to answer this either, Sarah. If you want to keep it a secret, I would understand. How do you get that recorded content out there? How do you pass it over, but it keep being forwarded on?
Oh, yeah, good question. So it's all on my website. So it's through a learning management system. So it's password protected. They have to log in.
Okay.
So they can, I mean, there's absolutely nothing stopping them, I suppose, logging them on with a different child in front of the screen.
Oh yeah, but that's
Yes,
unlikely,
but
isn't it? Yeah, that's more unlikely.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. And I think it's not badly pricey. You would hope that actually, they'd want the content for themselves anyway if they were
Yeah, yeah,
felt
sure.
that way inclined. And
Okay.
it's valid for a year. So I mean, then it cuts off. Well,
So you basically provide a parent portal or student portal
yeah,
login password that they can log into your website, access what there is. That's really good. I really like that. I'd love to see that at some point, actually. I mean, I use a separate website. I use Teachable for mine.
absolutely, yeah. And it's not too tricky to manage, actually.
No?
I'm not totally computer literate.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
I am, but yeah, no, like all the coding and bits like that. But it's really just an add-on to the WordPress. So it's an extra charge, of course, but then you pay for
Yeah.
things like Teachable, don't you? So I think it's made its money back in, well, just that course really, and then of course we've got more on there.
So does that, once you've recorded this, all of your sessions, that stays in the portal, and that is now that semi-passive or passive income into the
Yeah.
business, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then this year I've kind of realized that I could cut it down. So it was a 6-week course initially for the first term, covered all the
Yeah,
operations. So actually what I'm planning to do is cut them up so there's an addition, subtraction, etc. So there will be
yeah,
individual courses which you can just kind of cut and chop and add them.
yeah. Repurposing content, like it. We like those kind of
Exactly.
things. This is good. Another good takeaway for everybody is you can create something once
Mm,
and it creates passive income if you've recorded it and you've got a place to store it. But you can also go back and use that content for other things and repurpose it over and over again. And
definitely.
when you have something that's recorded like this, you can also repurpose it into free content. Not all of it, but you can
Yeah.
start trimming things out and saying, here's 2 minutes of something. Have a look. What do
Yeah.
you think? If you want more information, and it's how a lot of tutors I've seen recently on TikTok. And I do say I don't engage with TikTok a lot, but the people I follow on there, like what I see them doing, is
Yeah.
give a lot of value away. But it's usually about 30 seconds to a minute, and there's a lot
Mm,
of purpose to that value in that 30
yeah.
seconds to a minute. But it will often then drive someone to go to their website or to a sales page, or or nothing at all. Sometimes perhaps it's enough, but it's a nice way to kind of again nurture your audience and get them somewhere you want.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
amazing.
Yeah. No, I saw an interesting analogy the other day. It was, you wouldn't buy a car without test driving it. It's similar, isn't it? Actually, there's going to be people who haven't worked with me who might be interested in the course, but yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, worth.
Absolutely. And the way that you do it, we all do this in our own ways. We give this value away. Some of us will go
Mm,
and do live, some of us will give little snippets of what we've created, and we
mm,
might even do little demonstrations of what's on our website and say, oh, this is what it'll be like if you just look through the portal door. You're going to see all of these things,
yeah.
and give people Q&As, webinars for parents. So
Yes.
yeah, absolutely, it's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, you've spent the last 4 years building your business,
Indeed.
and there's been, I'm going to imagine, some changes from when you first started to now. What's been the biggest change from when you first started to where you are today?
Ooh, good question. Um, I think the filling of the days, because it used to be I'm just going to plan the sessions and that's it, and now it is more the business side, developing the brand colors. I'm also doing a bit of consultancy work, so that's probably quite a change as well there. So that's kind of yeah, a little bit different. I'd say groups. I wasn't ever doing groups at the start.
Mm,
But yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, it's not hugely different. I wouldn't have said, but just see the price has gone up, so that's quite.
yeah,
I'm working less, which is good. I'm now tutor
yeah,
3 days a week, so woohoo, rather than 5.
yeah. And was that a conscious decision, like when you were, yeah, okay,
Yeah, it was. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very easy to I'm talking to teachers now. It's very easy if you're still a teacher to come out of teaching,
Mm,
start your tutoring business,
yeah.
and just replace the 60 to 80
Yes.
hours a week you were working by working 60 to 80 hours a week in your business. And
Yeah.
it might require that at the start. It might,
Yeah.
but you need to plan forward and go. That's one of the reasons most of us leave teaching is because of the work-life balance, and then we
Yeah.
don't find the balance afterwards either. And even though like it's more fun because it's your own business and there's a bit more of a purpose to
Yeah.
what you're, a bit more of a purpose than teaching. I'm not sure whether that's true, but it's a different purpose, that's for
Yeah.
sure, when
Definitely.
you're working for
Yeah.
yourself. But that's a really good lesson to learn, that you can still make the money you need to make and not work as many hours. Definitely. So
Yeah.
how many hours do you work at the moment per week?
Well, tutoring wise,
Yeah.
I tutor, yeah, about 15 hours a week. So
Okay.
there is then the consultancy side, which is then probably another 10 or so, and then of course the paperwork business development. So I mean, it's still, I would say, it's still full time plus
So
hours wise, but like you say, it's a different kind of work.
with your consultancy, Sarah, what do you actually consult on? Do you go into schools or is it different?
So it's for a reading charity. So I work with Read With Me. So they provide volunteer
Mm.
readers into schools across Gloucestershire. So I do the training for them.
Oh
Fully.
wow.
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it actually. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a really good addition to the one of the bow to my string. Really, yeah, a string to my bow. No.
And then there was, what was the other thing that you said? Was there
Um,
something else?
the I think the business development side, so just the networking, policies, things that if I'm planning to
Things that
recruit, there's lots of stuff to do for that.
now in I people who don't know or haven't sort of put their hand up to come onto the podcast, what I do pre-podcast is send a Google form out with some questions, and just so I can get a bit of a better idea before we kind of go, yeah, definitely, let's do it.
Mm.
And one of the questions I put in there is, what's the biggest investment you've made in yourself? And often it's training or just university. A lot of the time, we're thinking about that real personal development stuff.
Mm.
You're the first one to put down coaching.
Mm.
So tell us a little about the coaching that you had. You can drop names as well, because I don't mind sharing names out there specifically if they were good, because I think we all want to find good coaches. And what impact did that coaching have?
Yeah, so coaching, I think that was the changing point of the business actually. So last year, I did the Life of a Tutor with Lucy Spencer. So she's Education
Oh,
Boutique. Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It was a year's program. Um, so we had a regular keep in touch session, so like a training a month. There were little videos that we had as well. And then we also got the one-to-ones, which I don't know if you know Lucy, but she is quite formidable.
mm,
She's just got loads of ideas. Her brain just works at about 1,000 miles an hour, and just
mm.
the one-to-one, she just come away buzzing all the ideas. And it's just it was her that encouraged me to push up the prices, and that's essentially then where the work-life balance came from a little more, because then I could drop days. And
Yeah.
then recently, so that stopped at the end of last year, and then I'm now working with Samantha through the Tutor Mastermind, Samantha McMahon, and she is just as brilliant. She was a business trainer, I think, before, and now she is a tutor herself.
Okay.
But it's just making you think about the business in a different way. So that's where that
Mm.
kind of the brand colors came from. The personal branding is another thing, and just kind of how to market yourself, how to use Instagram. And I think just, yeah, it feels like it's more of a business than just a hobby. Then before it was, oh, I'm just working in the evenings and seeing a few kids here and there. But now it really
Yeah.
feels like, no, this is a business that could go somewhere, and it is now scalable, and yeah, life changing,
Okay.
I'd say.
And it's interesting though as well that you went from one program into another,
Yes.
because that is quite common for people who that first time investing into something is scary because you don't
Mm.
really know. And then
Mm.
you go through that transformation, and then it's like, oh, I want to do this again. Like there's a
Yeah.
next stage, there's something else you need to kind of reach for. And then I don't think we'd ever stop either. I think there's always something then to look for next to help the growth. So that's what I love most about that is that it's been a positive experience, because they're not always.
No.
A lot of stories about over promising, under delivering, or perhaps getting involved with something when it's not been particularly tailored for tutors. I'm not saying that you can't get something from
Yeah.
other business courses that's not tailored for tutors, but when perhaps like if you're chatting with someone who knows your business,
Mm.
they're more than likely to be able to guide you down the right road rather than go down a
Yeah.
generic kind of sense.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's particularly for the Samantha because she did business. It wasn't tutoring, it wasn't teaching, it was, business um commercially. And now of course she is
Yeah,
a teacher, so she's got those two skill sets. So I think it's a really good combination.
excellent. Okay, so let's move on. We're almost at the final part. I'm going to ask some quick fire questions, okay? I'm going to, the questions are quick fire. The answers don't have to be quick fire.
Okay.
Okay, so you can elaborate as much as you like. Let's pretend, right, I wave a magic wand for you, and we're propelled 5 years into the future. What does your life look like?
Nice. I think I would like to be not tutoring, I think maybe like 1 or 2 days a week, maybe, with lots of different tutors across the UK, maybe a bit further afield. I'd quite
Okay.
like to be traveling and tutoring at the same time, or traveling and
Yeah.
working, and owning a house. I don't currently renting, and
Sure.
no, I think that's the next step, and then yeah, kind of expand the business as it goes, really.
So probably in 5 years' time, then Sarah, when we reconnect again, you'll be somewhere nice and
Yeah,
tropical. Yeah.
yeah, on
The
a beach in the
Maldives.
Bahamas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, okay, Bahamas, yeah, sure. But still with some kind of education empire happening, and
yeah,
you're just at the helm. Okay, I like that idea. I like the
yeah,
idea of setting up our business with that in mind. That's really cool.
yeah, definitely. So
Yeah. And then having a house somewhere. So you're traveling and buying a house.
yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't quite thought that bit through. Maybe like a few flats in like different cities. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Don't know. Maybe
I'm
doing
I'm I'm
bit
on
big
board. I'm
here.
on board with this. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next question for that then is you've got three flats. What cities are where are they? Which cities are you choosing?
Oh, good question. Sydney, 100%.
Okay.
I tutored in Sydney actually for 3 months, and it's a beautiful city. Sydney, where else? I was recently in Edinburgh. That's really lovely.
Okay.
Edinburgh and New York, I think.
Yeah. So Sydney and New York, I totally get.
Yeah, I don't
Edinburgh,
a bit of a random one. I think
bit
it's
of a
just one
random one.
just there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but it's a beautiful place.
It is. Yeah,
Beautiful
it
place.
is.
Okay, that was interesting. Thank you. Well, I've got a couple more. I don't know if I sent you this one actually. I might not have done, so this might be a surprise. But who are the inspirational people in your life? And you can go back as far as you like, because it might not be in the recent future. It might have been in the past. So that could be from then or from now.
Mm, good question. I think, inspirations in my life. I would say, I would say Lucy Spencer actually.
Okay.
One of them. I think it was her advert actually I read first of all that kind of made me think about tutoring
Mm.
as a viable option. Um,
So that because that actually changed your life. Okay, that changed the path of where you was heading. Yeah.
yeah, I think it really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it did. And, I said earlier it's life changing for coaching, and I thought,
Mm.
well, maybe business changing, but it's not. It does impact on both. So,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think we were talking before. I don't know whether it was on the recording or before when we were chatting before the podcast, but you were saying there was a moment where there was nursing on the cards.
Yes, that was
There's kind of
great.
that bit of that kind of reaching for something because you know that like being in the classroom wasn't quite right, and then you get this clarity and it
Yeah.
takes you down to tutoring, and which is provided by you reading something about Lucy and then working with her, which I think is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, a big role model in my tutoring life, certainly.
Mm,
Yes. And then my parents, I would say, also
yeah.
very hardworking. And I think randomly, my brownie leader, actually. So
Really?
yeah, no, she was quite well, I am now a brownie leader and etc. So because of that, I don't know, just the way that she responds to people, reacts to people, it's just yeah, I'd say she's an
Okay.
inspiration too. Bit of a random one.
But it's in is that and that's from you being little, right? And then growing up
Yeah,
with
yeah.
yeah, okay. And that's also inspired you to become a brownie leader yourself.
Yeah, so brownie guys,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's still involved in
Interesting.
girl guiding. Yeah, so I think she played a big part in that, which is also, girl guiding is now quite a big part of my life still. So
Have you taken on any of her traits? Like, that you saying about just the way she responds to people, those kind of things. You taken any of those on board that you now just have in your life, which maybe you don't even realize?
oh, I don't know whether I have. I think it was still well, I'm sure I have. It's just, yeah, like you say, you don't realise.
Maybe reflect back. Yeah, yeah, sure. But yeah, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to move on. If you had the power, what things would you change in the education system?
Oh, how long is your list? Yeah, pretty well everything, I think. I think we start too early. I think we've already said I think it's too formal, too early. I don't think
Mm,
enough creativity in there anymore. It's all,
yeah.
if my niece started school this week actually, and it kind of hit me like, oh, she's now got however many years of this education system. I don't really fully believe it. It's not working for all children, is it? And I guess it's difficult to get you can't have a one size fits all. That's the entire point. But I think teachers have worked too hard. The heads don't have the support that they need. And the government, I think, really, they always put these, you have a new education secretary at the moment, lots, and none of them are ever teachers or have ever been. Everybody, and I think that's the thing with teaching. Lots of people think that they know what teachers do because they've been a child in a school, but it's entirely different as a teacher. And I don't think people understand quite
Mm,
how hardcore it is, actually.
yeah. So you would rebuild it from the ground up.
Yeah, I think I probably would. Yeah.
Okay, so we'd start later. What age do you think would be good?
I think the Finnish have got quite a good system. I think they start about seven or eight, I think.
For formal learning seven, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that just lots of play, but then you also need the support pre-school as well, don't you? Which is where we need to start, I think, if we were redesigning the entire system. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you're like really is from the ground up because you're talking about even going back to like preschool, that's
Mm,
lengthening preschool, that kind of early years foundation now starts at probably three, goes up to six or seven before they
yeah,
actually get into some kind of middle school type approach, which we moved away from, didn't we? Like
yeah,
just about 30 years ago. So it's a
yeah,
strange thing.
exactly. Yeah, there needs to be more, yeah, hands-on type things, like the
Mm,
things they have, forest
yeah,
outdoory things, they need that.
yeah.
Well, I was going to say early on, but actually all the way through, year fives and sixes still need that outside time, and they don't, sometimes in cities they don't get that, do they? So
It's it's. I mean, I don't just ask this to people on the podcast after either this question, but it doesn't matter who I ask. I always get a different question, but it's always around the answer's always around the theme of um, I want to say slowing down. I don't think I mean slowing down. I
mm,
mean, there's a little bit of a
necessity.
yeah. It's like a decompression, I think, of what we currently have. We're just gonna let's just take our foot off
Yes.
something, and it's not slowing down the education, but there's an element
Yeah.
of well, I'm gonna say element. It's researched and well documented
Yeah.
that from age 3 to 7 we could do something completely different with our children and it would not affect them academically.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And the Finnish are that, and actually most of the Scandinavian countries
Mm,
have a similar style and approach. But yet, by the time these children reach 11, they outperform all of our children. So we
because
know there isn't. We know there's another way, but
yeah,
instead we go, oh, let's test 5-year-olds more. So,
exactly.
right,
Yeah. Yeah. The
that'll
baseline, I
be the
think,
way that we do it, and then we
that
stress
was
the
probably the
teachers out.
discussion.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. Thank you very much. Before we finish and we stop recording, is there any questions you'd like to ask, or is there a question that I haven't asked you that you would have liked to have shared the answer to?
Mm. I don't think so. I can't think of one right now. Should have thought about that. No, sorry.
That interview question, isn't it? Oh, have you got any questions to
I
ask me?
know.
Horrible, isn't it? It's horrible. To be honest, there's a few interview style questions in there, which I try to hide cleverly somewhere, but a bit of different purpose to them. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your journey.
Thank
I do. It sounds like you're well on your way to achieving exactly what you want. You're using sort of sounds like amazing coaches. I've heard of Lucy Spencer. I hadn't heard of Samantha though, but I'll definitely go and check her out because
Yeah, definitely.
sounds like really purposeful.
Mastermind,
Um,
brilliant. Yeah.
okay, and I will put all of your social links to the YouTube channel. And when it gets shared inside the Facebook group, it'll be on there as well. I definitely recommend everybody to go and have a look at your Instagram page because that is pretty impressive. I love your Instagram page, really well set out. And for inspiration for what it could look like for you and how you could manage some social media, because that could be copied into other places as well. Definitely check out the Instagram link. Again, just thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
No worries.